Hey everybody, it's Julina Collette, or my tag's just Julina. Welcome everybody to the interviews. Oh yeah, it's practice. Did it actually move? Did it move over?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, now get out of here.
Take two.
Take two. All right. Okay, he's gone. I'm gonna wait till the door closes.
Yeah, it grabbed the door.
All right, so I just want to say thank you everybody for being here for the interviews. It was a crazy weekend, and I thought we were going to do this yesterday, but it ended up being a very hype tournament, so at the very end. So I'm Julina Collette. I have never been to the Big Deal, but I got really excited to be here for the Big Deal 3D, and I'm really excited to interview every single one of you, and I had an amazing weekend, so you guys did too. So our first person we're going to interview, Steven, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Also known as Renatalis.
Okay. As what?
Renatalis.
Renatalis. Okay, so what games do you usually play?
I primarily play DDR. Over the last year since it got released, I've also gotten into Dance Rush, and I dabble in the rest of the games.
Okay, so what tournaments did you enter?
I entered DDR and I entered Dance Rush.
Okay, so tell me a little bit more about Dance Rush.
So this was the first significantly sized Dance Rush tournament that has happened in the U.S. I think we had 40 entrants, which was kind of bonkers.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I mean, like, how new is the game?
Dance Rush was first released in Japan in March of last year, and then I believe first showed up stateside in May.
Okay, so can you tell me a little bit more about like how the tournament was judged, or like, you know, I heard a lot of people like, oh, is it going to be technical versus like more freestyle dancing?
Sure. So the tournament combined the two. You had your actual score given you by the machine on a scale of 1 to 100, and then 3 judges who each could assign you between 1 and 10 bonus points based on style. So scoring well on tech was important, but looking good, looking like you're having fun, looking competent was also important.
Yeah, it was such a bummer that I missed that tournament, but were there videos? Will it be uploaded?
Yes, there was a few people kind of ad hoc streaming the tournament as it was going on, and there was recordings, I believe, of almost every match.
Almost every match. So what was like your favorite part of the Dance Rush tournament? Like what kind of made it that tournament?
The 2 things that really stood out, Paranoia Boy, Tony, who's an old school DDR player, had an absolutely ridiculous, awesome looking routine in the last round of cutoffs to go to top 4. But his score was so low that he didn't make it. No matter, he looked amazing, he looked like he'd done that dance a billion times, but his score was just barely low enough, showing that even though the style points mattered, skill still very much mattered. And then in the top 4 itself, first and third was separated by about a quarter of a point across 2 songs.
Oh, that must have been.
And then fourth should have been close too, but fourth literally collapsed on the pad.
Oh my gosh.
At the end of the second song.
Wow.
And the look on his face was, you could tell his body was telling him to stay down.
Oh. Well, we all kind of been there once.
Yes.
All right. So we're gonna move on. So tell me what your tag is. What do you go by?
My name is Jason Simino, but I go by the tag Sim or Snowstorm.
Okay, so what games do you play?
I play Dance Dance Revolution, Pump It Up, and Beatmania 2DX.
Okay, so what tournaments did you enter?
All 3 of those.
All
DDR,
3 of those.
Pump,
okay,
and
tell me
Beatmania.
a little bit about that experience.
It was very energetic, very exciting, very nerve-wracking, being that every single one of these tournaments, to my knowledge, has broken records in the U.S. as far as being the biggest tournaments with the most entrants, and it drove me insane knowing that it was going to be so hype.
So, I mean, I was in lower as well, and so I didn't get to see the end, but I know that you won lower in Pump. So tell me a little bit more about your experience there. Like when did you start Pump?
I started Pump in 2005. It was an on and off thing for several years because I was also playing DDR 2 years before that, and juggling both. But I wasn't taking Pump very seriously until probably 3 years ago.
Okay, so then you mostly play DDR, and like I hear a lot of different stories. So for a lot of people, playing DDR, it's not like available. Like they can't find a cabinet, or only certain places get Ace, for example, or you know, people have round ones to play at, and then some people have to play games at home, like on a computer and a controller. So like what's the scene around where you live?
Okay, so Louisiana really doesn't have anything updated. Like we don't have a round one for DDR or Beatmania. We do have a Dave & Buster's. It has Prime 2 for Pump It Up. But most of our community plays on open source machines like In the Groove with Simply Love, or in my case, a Pump It Up running Stepmania 5 with a Simply Love modded theme.
I totally know what you're talking about. I just modded my home machine to have like everything. Yes, the Simply Pump, and someone tried to play ITG using 5-panel, and I just was shaking my head at them. What are you doing? But yeah, I totally hear that, because we don't have a round one. They keep avoiding, round one keeps avoiding the Midwest, or they have like 4 round ones around Chicago, but none in Minneapolis. And so people have home setups. People have underground little home arcades that we all go to have kind of a haven. So it was actually my first time this weekend playing Dance Rush. And I thought that was such a hoot, but we don't have it. So we have to wait for the cons. Maybe they'll have it, like Snow Phoenix will bring it in, or
Tokyo Attack.
Or Tokyo Attack, thank you. So it's just a bummer for rhythm gamers when availability becomes an issue. Irvin, so tell me about what tournaments you entered this weekend.
I also entered DDR, Pump It Up, DDR lower, Pump It Up upper, and 2EX high tier, which is the middle. It was like the middle area. There was a mid tier, high tier, and an expert tier.
Okay. So I heard you got second in lower DDR.
Yeah, that was actually pretty cool.
So tell me about your DDR experience.
Well,
how long have you been playing DDR?
I've been playing DDR since 2003, but I stopped playing seriously DDR in like 2006 because it kind of died out after Extreme and locally in SoCal when ITG came up, and I played ITG primarily for the longest time. Even now I play ITG primarily, even more so than Pump. Pump I didn't start taking seriously until 3 years ago. Anyway, back to DDR for Ace. Marvelous timing. I started doing that seriously about 4 months ago, and it's hard. And to explain that to people who might not know, Marvelous timing is tighter judgment than perfect timing, which was the old standard for tournaments.
So how do you feel about the results of the DDR tournament?
For lower or for upper?
For upper and for lower.
For upper, well, I watched the top 8. When there was 8 people left when I started watching, and I watched it live. That to me, I was thinking about how far players have come along in terms of skill. People are monsters now. They're not only are they super accurate, their foot speed is fantastic. Their foot speed is super
fantastic. Haha. No. Sorry.
Their foot speed is amazing. Their tech is amazing. People move more athletically, even on 4-panel, than they ever have before. Because DDR, though some of their charts are iffy in terms of fun factor, they bring out the best in people's. They push the limits of people's skill, and especially with Marvelous Attack.
And I was watching over there, and they had just an incredible stream set up for that tournament, and a lot of commentary. And I know that event got really covered really well.
Yeah, it was the main event.
Yeah, the main event. So I believe there was 160 people in DDR upper with
160 across the board.
Yeah, across the board.
Yeah, the cutoff, I believe, in terms of seating was 97.
97. Okay.
Yeah, so
wait list.
Yeah, after 97, those people went into lower. So I seated 100, I believe exactly 100. So I
ruthless.
The field was pretty packed.
All right, so tell me about 2DX. So I believe you, Sim, was also in 2DX?
Correct.
Okay, and then you, Irvin, were in 2DX. So which category of 2DX? Because there was like three different tiers, I believe.
The mid tier, which was the lowest tier, the high tier, and expert tier. And I qualified for high tier. And I did okay. I faced a lot of people right around my skill level, which was really cool, really fun. Tied with somebody, which is that's hard to do in 2DX to tie. So that was cool. That happened a few times during the tournament, different matches. A lot of times in high tier. And yeah, but that was high tier. I watched expert tier. We actually had someone come in from Japan who was a top ranker. And I think it was by 1048. And then our local 2DX hero Matt went up against him in the final, and that was an amazing match. When I talk about technical skill at the top level in terms of timing, and it has 7 buttons and a scratch, so the most combinations of different kind of buttons you can hit. That was an amazing match.
And then did they have that streamed as well? Or did they
Yes.
record the matches?
They had a commentary set up.
Nice. I played that once, and Irvin knows because I think he saw that. That was pretty terrible.
Yeah, you gotta be kind of hardcore to get into that game.
And I never was good at piano, so I don't think that would work for me.
Almost masochistic to get into that game.
It's brutal. The game actively dislikes beginners.
I know, right?
I have to concur. As someone who's watched so many people try to pick up the game, it's brutal for them.
It's remarkable watching the top players, though. They're just like, they're in their stance and they're super serious, and they really know how to, use their pinkies. They are just
The technical skill,
really into
the
it.
different, people, the dexterity, there's so many things that go into the high level skill in that game.
So, Sim, how long have you been playing 2DX?
I started 2DX on Christmas Day 2005.
Christmas Day, 2005.
I have to be direct about when I started because that is when I received my first Konami original controller and imported Beatmania 2DX 8 style game for the PS2.
For PS2.
For PlayStation 2.
Wow. I mean, that's kind of around when everybody had their home pad, their home controller, back when we were all, younger, even though we all look the same still.
2DS was not readily available like it is now. Around that time.
Like, I don't think I've even seen a controller. But I mean, I know people in the Midwest. They have a lot of home setups. So I know somebody has a 2DX machine in Minnesota. I just don't know. I just don't know where it is. But we don't have that. So it was something that I only got exposed to when I actually went to a round 1 for the first time. I didn't even know it existed. Oh, and then we're gonna have a little take here. The baby. She's gonna fall asleep right now.
She's like, why are you talking so much?
Mommy. Yeah, she's totally gonna fall asleep. Okay. And we're back. So, dance game babies, or rhythm game babies, right?
The next generation.
next gen. Well, you gotta start with the kids, because if you don't, you just sit at home and not do anything,
We all started playing pretty much
What?
as kids.
And there's that young DDR player, June, Lara June.
Well, so yeah, speaking of like,
He's local in my area.
yeah, speaking of kid rhythm gamers, tell me more about that. He's like 8 years old, right?
June is what, 11?
12 now,
Oh, he's
something
11
like that.
now.
And he's clearing 19s on doubles. His shoulders are just above bar height. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like, he has found every way to maneuver around the limitations of his size and his leg length. He knows exactly what he can cheat and how far he can make. And it's ridiculous to see that there's charts he's clearing in DDR that I look at and go, no, I'm gonna hurt myself if I try that.
Right. So I know in the past there have been junior divisions and let's say Pump It Up, but I'm not sure if there has ever been junior competitions for DDR.
I feel like the reason Pump has typically separated out younger people and also women for divisions is because double is so prominent in Pump tournaments.
Right.
And charts like Junko Banjo doubles where you need
Oh,
to
yeah.
hit corners.
Yeah, oh, the splits.
Corners.
Yeah.
For a taller guy, a 6 foot tall guy, that's hard but doable. For a 5'5" woman or for a 12-year-old kid, that's straight up impossible. It's like
Almost.
yeah. I know Piran, who used to be a really good Piran doubles player, pump doubles player. She doesn't play very much anymore. Like she was 5'1", 5'2", and it was everything she had to get out there and get back and get out there and get back. So I feel like that made sense for pump to split genders and split ages, but DDR has typically never used doubles in tournaments. So there's less incentive there to do it. Like everybody's in place on the 4 arrows. It just doesn't seem like anything that's ever really been discussed in the DDR community.
Yeah. And I feel like they had the differentials with like junior and, you know, regular, but they haven't done that anymore. So it's just straight, you know, women's, freestyle, and male. I would be curious to see what they will do in the future since there's so many like new players and a lot of younger players that play now, but just a lot of times, you know, if the family won't go to the tournament, well then the kid can't go to the tournament. So that's something that I would like to see in the future with DDR, with any rhythm game in general, because kids can learn these games so more quickly than us adults. But a lot of us, I feel like most of us here started when we were a lot younger. So, you know, and then we grew up with it. So, I want to know, Joe, not Joe, why do I keep saying Joe? Joe is the guy that's around, but he's not here. He's editing the video. Joe, why did I put Joe? Steven, did you end up going to the Big Deal 1 or 2?
No, I did not. I did not make it to Big Deal 1 or 2. I think I heard about Big Deal 2 the day it was happening.
Okay.
And I just happened to have time this weekend. I found a cheap flight, and I don't think I made the decision to come until like late February.
Wow. So what other events have you been to and competed in?
So I was at Fresno Frenzy, which was last year in the summer. I don't remember, maybe August in Fresno. I run the Mistake on the Lake tournaments in Cleveland at their round 1. I ran one of the DDR tournaments at Raj the Garage in Columbus back in December. I've been going to events for as long as I've been playing. I started playing dance games in 2001. So I've gone to a lot of events.
So what were your goals for coming to the Big Deal 3D?
So one of the things that I think the rhythm game community is struggling to figure out right now is how do we continue growing? We've seen a lot of really good positive growth in the last 2-3 years, and we're starting to run into problems of how do we accommodate these bigger groups? Stuff like with DDR having 96 players in upper and another 64 in lower, and Dance Rush having 40 and 3 divisions of Beat Mania. How do we squeeze that in a weekend while still having a tournament that maintains its integrity? And Dave has done a really good job of organizing this. He ran one of the other DDR tournaments at Raj, and he did a great job there. And as another tournament organizer, I wanted to see how other groups are doing it. That's how we all get better, is learning from each other's successes and failures.
Definitely. So what do you think was the best moment for you versus what was maybe something you think that the event could improve upon?
I think that one of the hard parts about not just rhythm game tournaments, but rhythm game sections is noise pollution. During DDR yesterday, I was commentating for a while, and the commentary table was about 4 feet from DDR, and the pump was about 5 feet behind me, and I could not hear myself over pump. And that's just a problem that happens, and I don't know how we really fix that, but that's something that we're always going to run into, and we need to be very, very mindful of. And it's frustrating when it happens to players, it's frustrating when it happens to TOs. As for something that went really well, I think TOs adapting to problems during the event, Dance Rush especially, there were machine problems all day. Joe did a really good job of going, okay, we have to do something to fix this, or we're never going to fix this tournament. We're never going to finish this tournament. We're going to make minor rule changes. We're going to inform everybody at the tournament of the changes. And he handled that perfectly. it's something you never want to do is change rules in the middle of a tournament, but sometimes you have to.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like so many tournaments happening all at the same time. We're all noisy, you know, everything's going on. I'm really grateful that round one is like big ceilings and like big open air.
Good
So I didn't
to diffuse.
Yeah, I didn't feel like it was like ridiculously crazy, but it was, you know, and I was helping out with upper like for 12 hours, and like a lot of people lost their voice. We weren't able to do like megaphones like we do at like USPF, you know, and then everyone can hear and everyone's, you know, there's not a lot of people, so it was a lot of like yelling or, you know, calling out and hey you, and a lot of kind of chaos, having every single tournament like running at the same time in the same like, you know, how many square feet. So that was incredible. But thank you, Steven, so much. Thank you so much. So Sim, I just wanted to ask the same questions. Were you at the Big Deal 1 or 2?
I was at both Big Deal 1 and 2.
Okay, so tell me like your experience with like how the Big Deal 1, how that was, and then going to 2, and then now at 3.
So when I found out about the Big Deal, it was around the times that I was starting to plan out my travel schedule for 2017, because I planned trips months in advance for events that I wanted to, involving like music games, fighting games, Tetris events, retro game expos.
Tetris events.
And the Big Deal came up, and I saw that several of my friends involved in the music game community were actually running this event at the round one, and I really wanted to check it out because I wanted to experience something new. I had gone to MagFest a couple of times, and while I had fun out there, there were also a lot of points where I was not enjoying myself too much because I was constantly on my own in noise polluted areas where you couldn't hear yourself think. And coming to the Big Deal was an eye-opener, like seeing everybody come into a round one to play the latest and greatest versions of every game, to come together and just have an absolutely wonderful time. I loved it so much, and I've been wanting to support it ever since.
So I know like the Big Deal has grown like exponentially over, you know, the few years that it's been around. Like, what was maybe one remarkable thing like that was different between the first time you went and at the 3D?
Well, the first time we went, everything was still, you know, everybody was still a little green or a little new in getting everything going at a steady pace, like with tournaments, and then, like you said earlier, about having to call people for their matches. You know, we've had a much better system, I find, with like sending out texts or setting up pools and letting people know, hey, be here at this time to perform in your matches.
Oh, baby cut. Oh, that's so good. Okay.
Talk
Oh,
about
I
tournaments,
know.
you wake up the baby.
I know you, Sim. You woke up the baby.
I'm a terrible human
She's like
being.
so tired. So tired. Unless she wants to be in the interview. You want to be in the interview? Yeah.
Everyone's talking.
Are you
Everyone's
gonna
talking
grow up
about
and
me.
survive Gargoyleful S23?
Oh no.
She'll kill it.
Yeah, she'll kill it.
She'll triple S that.
Yeah. All right.
Do it before you know it.
No. That's just a regular D20. We're talking Gargoyle full.
Full
see
version,
those,
co-op and co-op. Or Anthony V. Togg's, you know, Gargoyle routine, of course.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Well, for the people who still have access to Infinity.
I have. Anyway.
Well, me too. But not our round.
I want to play it again. I haven't played it in 3 years.
All right, so we'll get back in. Okay, so Sim, not saying that correctly. So what was the best moment of the Big Deal 3D, and something that you think that the event could improve upon?
Personally, my best moment was also a somewhat emotional moment, was when I won tournament. Overall, I think as far as something that can improve, I don't know if it's necessarily with the event itself, but like I feel like we need a bigger space in terms of side activities, like the group photo. I deeply respect everybody that was involved in putting that together. We need more space for that to accommodate for the constantly growing amount of attendees that come to this event. Like this year, we nearly doubled the amount of entries, pre-registered attendees for the event compared to last year. And it's hard to capture everybody in photos without having to do certain things, potentially increase the amount of time it takes, cut people into groups, like putting all the DDR players in one group, or putting all the 2DX players or the Sound Voltex players. Arcade space-wise, like you said earlier, noise overriding, like even commentators. I feel like machines could be spaced out a little more. We could potentially use move machines around, as well as like other attractions in the venue, or even, you know, if we keep expanding as we are, look into bigger venues or racking in more money to persuade the venue staff to let us bring in more machines for making the event run smoother and faster as we grow.
All right, well, thanks so much, Sim. And it was great to meet you this weekend since we became Facebook friends. I think so many people were Facebook friends and then finally met at the Big Deal 3D.
It was an absolute pleasure to meet you.
Thank you. So, Irvin, were you at the Big Deal 1 or 2? So,
My first Big
so
Deal.
tell me about all the events that you've been in the past.
Okay, so I've been a tournament organizer, or I ran tournaments since, I ran the first ITG tournament for ITG 1 in 2005 January in SoCal. And we had like 40 entries, and it's just one game, so that was relatively simple, very big deal. So, which was that's why it was really cool to see the DDR finals. It was packed, you couldn't sit down comfortably. Everyone was talking about how their legs were hurting because they were just standing. They wanted to see finals so much. So the hype has grown like crazy. It's never been like that before. So, and I run similar events. We had a Super Rhythm Fighter in SoCal where it was ITG, DDR, 2DX, Poppin' Music, I believe too. We did different tournaments in the same arcade, much smaller in scale. Again. So like seeing the growth, so that's my experience. I've run a few events for ITG as well, but none of those have come close to Big Deal 3D as like done. So like, you know, props to all you guys who helped run it, because holy crap, that was looking at the pre-regs and them talking about it as a TO with experience, and Kevin, you can also attest to this. You see the number and you get like a little bit of anxiety because you're like, how the hell is that going to work?
Or like, how are we going to get through all of those before the end of the day?
Yeah, on the one hand, you're excited because there's so many people. On the other hand, you go, oh no.
Yeah.
Where am I going to put those bodies?
Was there any problems with getting done with 2DX or like DDR, lower?
No, I mean,
medium?
in terms of the organization, from like the running the tournaments and the rule sets and that, those are all fine. The thing that I feel like the events and many events, you know, across the board for all the games that I've seen that are not fighting games, we need to take what fighting game community has done with their events in terms of media coverage, and try to find a way to make that happen for the rhythm game community, because their commentators are better, they're professional, they have professional setups, they got the space for it, you know, the venues usually accommodate for it. Again, they're a much larger base than we are as rhythm gamers. but we need to find a way to replicate that. We need to have commentating that's color commentating, that's action, that's talking about the players, talking about the technical skills, constantly explaining to the people watching what's going on so that they're captivated and they stay captivated, right? Like, we're hardcore players, so we know all this stuff already, so that's why we can stay captivated by what we're looking at.
I mean, I
But we
definitely,
wanna-
yeah,
we
definitely
wanna
agree with
attract-
that.
Yeah, we want to attract more people who aren't as knowledgeable. Then the media coverage is like, that is the doorway for most people to get hardcore.
And I feel like the one thing that I think that the event could, do better and change is like making sure that each event is covered. Each event has a stream. Each event has commentators. Each event has a backup plan.
Those things, I feel like those things are just as important as figuring out the rule format.
Yes, like more so, because everyone here can figure out rule set. Like, we all done that a zillion times. But making sure that, like, the event going on, everyone else knows about the event, or if they can't, be here, because there's a lot of conflicts with people not being able to get a ticket. They're busy, maybe money constraint, but they still want to be a part of, the big deal. Having that media coverage, the stream, having that set up, and props for DDR for having that, it was really set up. But they were like the main event. I feel like they were the main event. But
The guys who were talking about the guys who were commentating today for DDR, they were much closer to what I would be hoping for in terms of like what our goal should be for the media coverage. They did a really great job. In the past tournaments, it just doesn't measure up to what we need.
So, what would be like your favorite moment of Big Deal 3?
Like personal favorite moment?
Yes.
Doing so well in DDR lower, that was kind of cool. It's DDR lower, but there's a lot of people there who have skill that we're all gonna get up in there and uppers as well, even not too much longer. And that was fun. A lot of close matches. My favorite moment is like just thinking about how amazing it is everyone encouraging each other too. Like, yeah, we're all like rivals in a sense, especially at the top. The top guys that each of their tournaments, they're rivals, but you see these guys also encouraging each other. Like, everyone just wants to get there and get better because we're all pushing each other to do something. Like, I love that.
Nobody wants easy wins.
Sorry?
Nobody wants easy wins.
Yeah,
They want to fight for them.
Exactly. But we all want to see each other succeed too.
All right. Well, thank you, Irvin. Thank you, Sim, and thank you, Steven, and Joe, wherever you are, because he helped set this up. So thank you guys, and hopefully there'll be another big deal. Maybe it's gonna be 4th. I don't know what it's gonna be, but what do you think that? So let's go around one more time. Last parting words, and what you think would happen for the next big deal.
I mean, at the rate we're going for tournament attendance and people's interest, I'm getting shut down by the fire marshal.
I made jokes about that for the past 3 weeks.
I mean, it's like you said, Irvin, as a TO, seeing those numbers, you're on the one hand, you're excited, but you're also like, how am I going to do this? And what do I do?
need help.
Yeah, I need help, and then the helpers need help.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's going to get bigger.
Maybe a convention center. I don't know.
But and then we got to worry
That's
about
an idea.
mobility,
The
the amusement. Like that's I think one of the biggest hurdles is that it has to be on EMUs to be able to have stuff like Beat Media and Dance Rush on EMUs. It's got to be here, and it's not like we can rent out the whole place. Like we've got some people in the community
never
that
know.
that like sponsoring, that like helping out,
Yep.
but I don't think anybody wants to drop that kind of money to rent out the building that we really only need 20% of for 10 games.
Then talking about that, the media coverage becomes extra important.
Yeah,
Because then
absolutely. It's
that's
crucial.
an incentive for them to put in the effort to give us more space.
Yeah.
Because if we have good media coverage, and there's a potential for them to get something out of it as well.
Yeah.
All right. Any last parting words, Sim?
I just want to thank everybody on staff for the big deal. Volunteers, event organizers, for making this happen. Like, I look forward to this every year. It is very important to me. I have a lot of fun. It changes my life a lot. awesome people. And again, I just want to say thank you. And I'm really, really excited to see what the future holds for this.
All right, thank you so much, Steven, Sim, and Irvin. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, get out of here. No, I'm kidding.
Fine.
I see how it is.
No.
Have a beer and talk to my friend. That reminds me, I still
All right.
owe Dan Grant a beer.
We can all go home
Yeah.
or go get food.
I might have to.
Sounds good.
Is this your phone, Julie?
Yeah, it is.
Jelena.
And then we can like, if you guys need to butt out like sooner, then we can be quick.
Okay.
We're only talking about Pump It Up.
Right.
So they were talking about yours. Yeah, right.
Say that baby. Yeah. Me like the baby.
Oh, you
want to do it too?
Okay, hold on.
Alert me. Seriously? Right.
It looks like it.
But I want to talk about
Well, you can put it in there.
It's a joke.
What a coincidence, you're stuck here with the freestylers.
I know, right? It's perfect because I can talk about my passion for freestyle and screw speed. Oh yeah. Alright guys, hi guys.
All right.
I think that's the first time I've ever seen Steven in real life. I only see his name on like the guy that Renatalist.
Oh, the one in the corner?
Yeah. That's my first, I only see his username all over like Souls and I'm like, oh that's him.
I mean, I've seen a lot of people's like username, and I'm like, oh, you're that person,
yeah,
or like
no.
finding out like, oh, that's
Right. Yeah. And someone found me because apparently they had seen like a Seek D14. It was Emilio. I was like, what? You watched that? That's what I think so far. Oh.
I know my Fiji water saved the day.
Right. Thank you
Because
so
I gave
much.
John like he was like dying.
My voice.
I'm just gonna sit in the middle.
Yeah, sure.
So let's maybe that chair can be a little closer. I don't know. I felt like whoever was there was like quieter for some reason.
Okay, I see.
Also, Urban was pretty quiet.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
Like, hopefully it'll be fine.
Yeah.
I mean, they can edit the audio a little bit, but
He's more soft spoken. He's a big guy, but he's more soft
Big
spoken.
are you all right?
Oh yeah, just old age. Yeah, that out of retirement feel.
All right, so
nursing home.
I'll introduce myself again so that you can get cut and then all that kinds of stuff. So, all right, so hey, I'm Julina, or my tag's Julina Collette, and I'm interviewing Archie, Ram, and Kevin. And we're going to be talking about Pump It Up Freestyle, Pump It Up Upper, and I entered in women's, so we can talk about that too, since we didn't have any girls here. So we'll be the girls, and Starry here, she's sleeping, you probably can't see her. But this is my first big deal event, and I'm really excited to interview these guys, because this was such a hype, they call it hype event. And so let's start off with Kevin, since you facilitated the freestyle tournament, and this year it wasn't really going to be added on until last minute. So can you tell me more about that?
Right. So it's kind of funny because I wasn't actually sure I was going to be able to attend the big deal this time. I had actually, so disclosure, this is actually also my first big deal. So I had never been here before. I had no idea what it was like. But they were saying like it's actually kind of sad because when I was talking to the Pump TOs, they were like, I was like, hey, I don't see freestyle on this list. What's going on? And there was like, well, the problem is the local community isn't really supportive of it, and like it's really like people are really down and like we're not because I think the last turnout was like 4 last time. I don't remember.
Yeah, I heard it was very low, and it wasn't really,
Yeah, it wasn't very like the bar wasn't quite there as it should be, and so I was like, wait a minute, why don't I come and run it for you guys? I know you have your hand. So the thing is, like the speed TOs have their hands full already.
Yes, I got wrangled into doing all of that. So I was only supposed to help with like a couple pools with communicating, and then I ended up doing like 3 people's jobs all day, and that was like insane.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah.
There's no way we could have fit Pump It Up lower, upper, and women's and freestyle in one day. There was just no way.
There was just no way. I could tell immediately. And so that's why it was kind of like, hey, wait a minute, why don't I just come do it for you? And we were just, and because I had experience like doing freestyle competitions, like organizing the tournaments in Northern California, Southern California, occasionally. We're hoping, fingers crossed we can do it this year. And I was like, yeah, I can bring like what the spirit of freestyle from us, like the one that we've been keeping, and try to bring it here, and like, hey, maybe the community can know this, and like, hey, there's, you can aim higher than that. There are people out there that are freestyling, and I wanted to make sure that like, yo, we're a real scene. We have real players, and there are people who compete in this, and they can do really, really well. And maybe you guys think it's only because you saw 4 people, like, oh, it's nothing. But like, no, this is a real thing, and that's why I wanted to come and do it. And I was happy to, because I was like, and it's actually easier for me because my load is normally a lot bigger when we had both speed and freestyle. But it was kind of nice. I could focus on freestyle, including competing in it as well at the same time.
It is hard to kind of cross-platform on different games. I feel like this weekend a lot of people were in several tournaments, so we had to go between, like, okay, are you in DDR upper? Oh, you're in pump upper, and then like coordinate the matches. Oh no, and now I'm in sound Voltex, and so having freestyle on like its own thing, and I feel like people were worried about it not getting the credit it deserved, but I feel like there was still a lot of people here in a big crowd, and it was still something special.
Yeah.
So when did you start freestyling? And tell me a little bit more about like when you started judging freestyle.
All right.
Or like coordinating freestyling.
Right. So I mean, well, it sort of starts off with my tournament organization experience. So I actually started playing Pump since the year 2000, December 2000. I remember exactly. It was with it was with Oldies But Goodies. Like that mix is the 3rd mix in the game's history. So that's where I started off. But I got involved in the U.S. tournament community, but since 2003. But I didn't do anything organization-wise until 2013. 2013 was USPF. The national tournament was my first tournament organization experience. It was jumping into the pool, quite literally. So I was like super overwhelmed, but we got to that was my first freestyle tournament organizing, and then from then on, every Pump tournament I organize always has a freestyle.
That's good. Always have freestyle. So Ram, I want you to tell me a little bit about your experience with playing Pump It Up. How long have you been playing, and how long have you been freestyling?
So as far as Pump It Up goes, I've been playing. Well, I started when I ran into an older Pump It Up mix at Dave & Buster's. Usually I went to that Dave & Buster's location to play a lot of DDR, but at that time when I came in, they got rid of the DDR machine and got the Pump It Up. Played it for a bit because at the time I was obsessed with dancing games. Couldn't recall what year it was. I believe it was 2002, 2003. Just always played Pump It Up whenever I ran into it, because like I said, I love music games, I love dance games, but I didn't really start getting into it seriously until my local round 1 until local round 1 opened up around me. There they had Pump It Up and an older mix of DDR, so I thought, hey, I could just play Pump It Up a lot more, because I do love the K-pop in Pump It Up. I love the layout in Pump It Up. It feels a lot more natural to me than 4-panel, even though I started on 4-panel. And as far as freestyle goes, I actually heard from the local community that there's going to be a Pump It Up freestyle tournament along with a speed tournament, and it just really interests me because growing up in the San Francisco Bay Area, that's where a lot of the freestyle scene kind of started. Amazing players back then in the DDR freestyle scene. So it was just kind of interesting to see that someone was actually running a freestyle tournament for Pump It Up at this day and age where there's not a lot of freestylers out there. And I think that was 2016 when my round one opened up, and that's when I basically started freestyling.
Wow, incredible. And so you got second in the tournament.
Yes, I
So
did.
tell me about that experience. Like, how long did you have to prepare for the event? Since we didn't have like a lot of time.
This event was very interesting. We heard talks that we were going to get the newest version of
Oh my
Pump It Up.
gosh, don't get me started.
So all of us wanted to, well, I'm going to speak for a lot of people here, but I'm assuming that all of us wanted to try our hands on the newer songs that were coming in, especially since we couldn't use some of the older songs because a lot of songs got deleted with the newer version that was coming out. So everyone was prepping for this newer version that we anticipated was going to be here at this tournament. We heard that we might not get that mix, so a lot of people either started making backup plans or trying to bring back old routines. There were just talks of, I don't know what to do because I don't know exactly what mix we have. And I believe we didn't hear officially what mix we had until I believe Thursday or Friday.
Friday. Yeah, Friday.
It was Friday.
Yeah.
So that for me was like the one thing that made it sort of like not as successful, but not knowing the mix for like upper is like not as a big deal, haha. But for freestyle, you pick a song and you prepare for that song. You don't mess around. So not knowing the mix for this freestyle tournament was like such. You don't know what it was gonna do and how it was gonna affect the outcome. But I feel like still the outcome was good based on not necessarily knowing the routines, but it's a really hard thing when the mix comes out and then it gets shipped to the round one that same weekend that the tournament's going to be at. That was just like a crazy house.
Yeah.
And I'm looking in the group chat like, oh my god, this is the plan if we get XX. This is the plan if we don't. This is the plan if we have a prime and a prime 2. And it was just ridiculous because everyone wants to know and we don't even know. And it was just crazy. So
I was in that same group chat, so I felt the same frustrations as Julina. And the worst part is that it was out of our control too.
Entirely. We didn't even have thankfully we got another prime 2.
Yeah, thank we for that.
Yeah, thank you, wherever you are. But yeah. So Archie, how long have you been playing Pump It Up?
Oh.
Tell me a little bit about your experience because I feel like we're all of us here are like really old school players because I started Pump It Up in 2003 and I saw Pump It Up at the state fair. So I would go to the state fair in Minnesota, and so the Minnesota State Fair is like one of the biggest state fairs in the country. And they have 2 arcades, one has a DDR and one has a pump. I came by and I saw someone playing Beethoven Virus Nightmare, and I couldn't get my eyes off that for 2 hours. And we would play at the state fair every year. People would come back and play. And the one thing about the state fair is that it was a place for people to do crazy nightmares and stuff, but then freestyle. People would freestyle at the state fair, and it would bring in crowds. It was just like a hoop, and it was super fun. And we have all these, and even Minnesota, there was freestylers, but they've never seen the light of day at tournaments, which is was too bad. There's actually a lot of players that did freestyle in the Midwest that actually they've never gone to an event. But there was just all these old school charts, Funky Tonight, Don't Bother Me, all of the old mixes that had all these really cool freestyleable, charts versus, now it's mostly there's a lot more speed focus versus freestyle. So tell me more about when you start playing and when you just really started getting into the freestyle scene.
Okay, let's see. I started playing pump back in 2005. I was fresh out of the military, going through a separation. I was engaged at the time, and it didn't work out. So my friends, they dragged me out to a local place called Mr. Gettyland. And at Gettyland, they're like, all right, so we're gonna go and we're gonna play this game in the groove. I'm like, okay, sure. And I was just frustrated. I'm just gonna go straight in, and everybody wanted to go eat. So I just went straight into the arcade, and I couldn't find In the Groove, and I thought In the Groove was what I stepped on, which actually was Pump XC2.
Yes, nice.
And I started teetering around with it. I'm like, I don't get these arrows. And some girl was like, oh, you're really good. Like, can I play? Like, sure, why not? And she totally wiped the floor with me. That was my second girlfriend later on, because I don't like to lose, and became very competitive. And then it was like a couple of months later, they had released Pump It Up Zero. And in Zero, they had like a screen saver showing like a Pump Festival and all the kind of freestyle. I was like, that seems like something I'd be into. And so I started dabbling around with that, but never really got too competitive until a shadowy, tall figure we call the grandfather of Pump, Art, showed up in Austin. He was like, hey, you're really good. You should come out to one of the competitions. I'm just like, yeah. No, not really. But then the second relationship fell apart, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm definitely going to look into this. So I started getting a little bit serious around 2009, but I haven't heard about any other like national competitions until like 2011 came around. So my first time, I'm like, sure, I'm just gonna go. I'm not sure what I got prepared or whatnot. So I went straight out to Vegas. That's when I first got started professionally-ish, because I ended up winning the freestyle nationals, and that was also the year that, you know, after going over certain things, what I can and cannot do, allowed me to participate in the World Championships in China in 2011. And since then, I went back. 2012 took the title. 2013 took the title. 2014 took the title. I think I have the most consecutive titles.
You have the most consecutive titles.
And what they're talking about is USPF, that event.
Yes,
United States Pump Festival.
And about 2015, I was going through a little bit of a rough patch. Just lost a friend in the pump circuit. Also, he was the creator of Ruby, Monty Home, and he was out there in Austin. And I tried to convince him to come out, and he was going to make it, but a routine surgery went wrong, and he ended up passing away. And so I went out in 2015, and I laid it all out there, and it didn't matter if I won. I just got it out of my system, and at that point, I walked away from pump. I literally left it all on the floor, and it kind of hurt to leave it, but then it was okay. And then just seeing like everybody else still playing, and, you know, hearing how freestyle is kind of going down and whatnot, I felt bad about like just leaving the community, almost like the Avatar, you know, when the world needed me the most.
Yes, okay, totally know what you're talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
So I'm like, I'm coming out of retirement, and then I got hit with double tendonitis in both of my ankles. So I didn't do so well today, but it's okay, you know. I don't always have to win, you know. It's great that, you know, an up-and-coming player for a competition, you know, he ranked, so that's pretty good. You know, get everybody some good rankings, so that way, you know, later on, we might be able to have like a big deal or a national of all champions competing, like the Hunger Games anniversary.
I would love to see a big debut of all of the champions in freestyle and everyone that's been underground, that hasn't been to a competition, we've never seen before. I'd like to see an event happen where it's just based on like freestyle, or based on just like that old school way of playing pump and making that a big deal. Ha ha ha. You know how many times that's been like a pun, and like, and you say it and you don't even realize what you're saying.
Right.
Because I mean, I'm a speeder, but I have this like tender love in my heart for freestyle, and I remember when I went to USPF in 2007. That was my first event. Someone picked me up at the state fair and was like, "You should go to the US." Oh, and we have a baby right now that's saying, "Oh, yep." Like, oh, yep. Cut. Okay, so now we're back in. So I had some guys like saw me play at the state fair and they're like, you need to go to this event. And I'm like, what's that? I don't know what that is. And this is back in the day, no Facebook, we didn't have a way to link everyone together. So I went to this, I competed in women's. I pretty much sucked, really bad, but I got to see the freestyle and my eyes were like, what? And I got to meet Art. I got to see, like Red Viper. I got to see Smidget, and I was like, whoa, this is sweet, And then I didn't really hear about events after that. And then the next event that I got to go to was 2014. So, and I met you, Kevin. I met you, Archie. And I saw Archie play, and I was like, whoa, what is this? So I have to thank Archie for like really making me like fall into freestyle, like fall in love with freestyle. And after that, I'm just like, the best part is right now. Like, I mean, the best part of the tournament for me was the freestyle, and then obviously, finals for upper is pretty intense, and we all love that, right? But that freestyle event is just, I actually go back and I rewatch some of the videos on YouTube of these events, and I feel like they, made an impact in my life. I might not be necessarily a freestyler. I'm more of like, hey, I wish I could freestyle. Maybe I'll do it. I did freestyle improv, once at the Anime Expo 2015. When Phil Arlington was running that event. So, I did that. But a lot of people there, it was more of like a for fun thing versus like, I actually had something prepared. So it was more just an improv. But, so Archie, tell me, like, what was your, like, the best moment of this event for you, and what do you think they could do differently for next year? Big deal.
The best moment for me at this event, freestyle. I just gotta say it like that because it was just really weird to be like, we're normally the halftime show of like most like football games. We're in the middle to give like the speeders time to take a break, but they put us at the end of the program, like no one's gonna watch us. I'm like, no, we're still gonna get people to watch, but then just kind of almost got a little engulfed because of the DDR next to us and their finals. How could it be better next year? I honestly don't know. This is my first big deal. I've never had a big deal. I mean, been to a big deal. But I don't know, just keep bringing more people, talk to other freestylists that, just kind of stay underground and be like, hey, come on out. And let's try and get more freestylists out here so that way they can start taking us more serious than just, the redheaded stepchild.
Well, thank you so much, Archie. So, Ram. So, tell me about your, same thing, best moment. What you think the big deal 3D? Well, it's not going to be 3D next year, but what the next year's event could do better.
I always have to put freestyle on a pedestal, just because everyone has so many different styles and so much different like ways that they can do things. It's expression that people are doing when they do freestyle, so it's just interesting to see what everyone has to bring into the table. But I'm not just going to downplay and say that nothing else in the big deal was hype. There was a lot of great matches from the DDR side, a lot of close matches on the 2DX side, speed of pump it up speed. Everything was just exciting from the beginning on Friday until today, which is pretty much the last day.
All right, thanks so much. It was such nice to meet you in person this weekend.
Yes.
Again, because we met, but I miss my California guys, gals, tier. I know. All right, so Kevin.
Yes.
So this coming back around, what was your favorite moment for this weekend, and something that we could improve upon on this event?
Right, definitely. So, oh man, that's not kind of hard. Like, I do think, for me,
I still have to say that, to be honest, freestyle is still like the most fun to watch. And as much as someone who does speed and kind of a little bit of freestyle, but like I'm still like, it's just so fun to see it's creative process. Like, I mean, it's super subjective, and that gives this element of unpredictability that you like. And speed is unpredictable. It's true, but you don't get the same. Like, every time you watching a speed tournament versus a freestyle tournament, the speed tournament you have the expectation what people will look like. Maybe the songs will be like, okay, they have a very hard song. I have an idea, but with freestyle, it's like, I don't know what's gonna happen. Who's gonna pick this song? And how are they going to interpret this song? They'll interpret it completely differently from the other dude that did it like last year, and they'll be like, "Oh, I did not know you could actually dance to the song that way," or "He picked that song, what?" And that's even funny things like there was one time that we in NorCal, everyone picked the song "I'm Sorry" 4 times, like 4 times. I mean, it was disgusting. But it was amazing.
To see what you guys would do differently.
It was like amazing at the same time that they had actually coordinated to conspire to flood with 4 I'm Sorry routines. It's almost as funny as that other time when You Got Me Rocking was in USPF 2013 and played 3 times.
Oh.
3 times. That was like, that's the kind of stuff that's amazing, because even although like it is funny that the same songs were picked, every one of those routines were like done in a different style, very different. Like Archie did it differently, Evander did it differently, Phil Reed did it differently, and it was like, oh, so that's the difference between all 3 of them. That's their own expression of who they are, and so yeah, and I will put Pump Upper Speed second. As the second best. That was also very good too.
So did you enter in upper?
I did.
You did? Okay, because like even though I was there the whole time, just the number of people, it was just the record basically in the whole country, almost like the whole world almost for a pop tournament.
I'm not sure about world because
Almost.
I unfortunately,
I mean, probably
Mexico,
in Mexico, South America, they got a lot of guys that are just they just have a plus 20 to pump just automatically.
Yeah, they have some big
For
tournaments, and I can attest
So
to the fact that they have 5 machines side by side on an arcade.
That would be ridiculous.
I'm just very jealous. I was just like, are you kidding me?
But I mean, in the U.S., like it's pretty much the biggest pump tournament that has pretty much been in like a collective unit.
Right.
You know, having a
Definitely.
lower, women's, upper, and freestyle, and having it all within 2 days or 2-3 days in a whole weekend.
Yes.
So
definitely.
that's just incredible.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, and I should talk about what I would do differently.
Yes.
Well, I don't. This one's a hard one. The mix not being defted earlier definitely screwed up.
Definitely.
It screwed, well, him, me, probably Jill, and probably Archie. Actually, did it screw you over too?
Well, in a way, it's like I
Or did it help you?
didn't know if we was gonna get the upgrade, so then
Okay.
I'm only dealing with Prime 2, and then at my location 2 days before competition, they upgraded to Dos Equis.
Oh.
And so
We're all
then
calling
I
Dos
couldn't
Equis.
I couldn't practice, so then I was just left out. So I was like, oh, maybe it might upgrade. I was like, it's just Prime 2. And they were like, okay, I'm good. So it's just not knowing was the fear factor.
Yeah. And I think for what else could we? I mean, I think in terms of smoothness, I think it went pretty well. I can't think of anything outrageous. Like, and you, Junina, you were one of the judges, and good job. And like, thank you for putting the time. And we actually got. And one funny thing is, we got Zello's steps were actually used in the competition.
Sorry to interrupt. The Shanklins are going to join you guys in just a second.
Sweet, because they're ready. They're next. Because we're
Yes,
like
and
wrapping up.
You guys are done, when you're done overall, I'm right in the middle, so I'm just playing right out here. So I'll cut this part out. So
Sweet.
Right.
All right, cut. Okay, continue,
Return.
Kevin.
So one crazy thing is that one of the judges, Phil Shanklin, his chart was actually used in the competition, which I thought was really hilarious, and it was not chosen because the competitor knew he had written it. It was just completely it was just completely picked out of the blue, and I thought that was hilarious and great. I think that's pretty much it. The hard part is also the noise pollution. That is true. I do have to address that. Like it's the same problem for them as it is for us, right? Because we had a lot to deal with the DDR crowd, and of course they're all facing it's really hard to. We did turn. I did notice some heads did turn, so I thought that was actually pretty funny. We're like, what's going on over here? And so it was. So yeah, definitely.
We're distracted from the other beautiful people outside.
Yes. Let them come in first.
Oh, yeah. So we're wrapping this up, and then then you guys can. You're next. Okay. So cut. Now we're back.
All right. So yeah, the noise pollution is going to be the hardest one to deal with. We tried to turn the machine as high as we realistically could, because we also had to not flood the twitch of the DDR with bang bang bang, and if you know what I'm saying,
bang.
Bang, bang. And so it's a tough one, and I think we're gonna have to figure out how to address it. Maybe they do have these interesting things in Japan where they put these paneled walls around the machine.
We have that in Austin.
Oh.
Yep, it's they're like clear panels.
Yes.
And it's supposed to be like a noise canceller or a blocker, and sometimes it does work. Until they push it against the wall.
Oh, well, that's when you're using it wrong. But it would be nice to it's a tough balance, and I think maybe they have to address it at some point. Otherwise, we're always gonna have this issue, and it's gonna be tough. And I guess if we had because Pump It Up doesn't have the same, as Ranatulus was saying earlier, Steven, he was saying the problem with Konami games is that they require EMUs.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, only Round 1 has the right to have that. And so that's why they can't go ship off their Sound Voltex and DDR machines elsewhere and play it. But we
have a little bit of wiggle room there.
We have a lot of wiggle room, and it's also quite nice that we have very direct. Okay, we as in I and Tanya and Chris Beecham in Virginia.
Both Phils.
And both Phils.
Yeah.
Or Phil Arrington.
Yeah.
We all have very direct contact with Van den Bureau, and that's actually very good in our favor. And that also means we can complain of and the World Pump community at least has come together to make deep double performance charts for the game, and that makes me so happy that people care, that people actually care to do it. And for even the most randomest songs, someone is actually a freestyle has actually told me they want to get Wedding Crashers as their freestyle song. I'm not gonna say who, but I have been told Wedding Crashers may show up at a competition at some point, and so that's exciting stuff. And maybe we could get a bigger venue, because we don't have a problem with getting machines to places. But
I remember, 2007, Andamiro brought in 2 brand spanking new machines for the event, and we got a private room in the Dave & Buster's.
Yes.
Private, and it was just that. I want to see more of that kind of thing come back, to make it more, and there wasn't as many people. So I want to see that come back. And it was a great thing to notice that Andamiro did notice this.
Yes.
So that could help us in the future.
And full disclosure, I was actually at that 2007 USPL.
I did not see you.
I know. I was quieter.
Okay.
I was also
You're not the Kevin that we know now.
No, I was not an organizer. I was just a guy that did level 13 that was the maximum
that was basically my maximum too.
And I was just I need to see Smidget, and I need to see this Red Viper.
Yeah, oh my gosh, right?
And I saw it in real life, and it was wait, this is real. And that was
real.
So actually, I want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Do you know a guy named The Package by any chance?
The Package.
Yeah, Johnny. He was from Minnesota as well.
Wait. I'm so good with faces, so I don't know. There's like a couple Johns that I know in Minnesota, but I don't know if I remember that name.
Oh, that's fine. He was the second placer in that male speed. So we've been wondering.
Oh wait, second place.
Yes. Because the first place was J-Boy, who is still in the community.
Oh, okay. So actually for the junior male, the first place was Scott, who was from Minnesota.
Right.
So not the upper.
No, not
Okay.
upper, yeah.
Oh, wait. Say the name again.
It's Johnny.
Johnny. He got second.
Yes.
Yeah, so yeah, doesn't ring a bell.
That's fine. I was just wondering about that. I know they're probably going to cut this out because
I know,
it's
we're
off
like...
topic. I know.
But anyway,
That's
thank you
not
guys so
big.
much. Like, this was a phenomenal, like, last minute addition to the
Right.
Big Deal. I mean, I was going to come regardless, but the fact that, I was super excited to hear that it was going to be a real thing,
Right.
a real deal. Right.
They go up
Real
from
big
there.
deal.
The
It's a
big,
real-
the real big deal.
Let's
So
get more
thank you
people.
guys so much, and peace out. See you guys next year.
Yep.
USBF, hopefully whenever that happens. But that I hope people for the freestyle event all come back around, and we can make that a really big deal. So thanks guys.
Thank you so much.
And cut.
Oh, we out.
We out.
Throw me. I lost to a banana. Like, because he kept killing himself and unkilling himself. I'm like, how do you think of a banana? Just sit.
So good. Thank you guys so much. That was a great interview. I have a voice still. I'm the only person left in the Yeah, I volunteered. It wasn't going to happen. All right, so. Yeah, so it's actually perfect. I like miscellaneous. They already covered here. Like over again. Yay, you guys made it.
John, get it.
Hi guys.
Bye, guys. Let you guys do your interview.
So you look the closest to them. When are you getting the national title?
Oh, wait. Like, it's my actual profile? Oh, wait. No, I already got that.
There, it's national.
Yeah, I already got. That's why I was like, I'm never using this time.
Hey, there's one title that even if he gets it's gonna be funny when everyone gets a chance.
Oh my gosh. It's like,
And all Infinity Gems.
oh yeah, that's true. You actually can get inside.
A little bit. I feel like it's still.
I have to leave.
Yeah, it's like almost 7.
Yeah, it's just the captain. Yes, sir.
We'll see you next time we come back.
Yes, of course. Bye.
Whatever that'll be.
Yes, sir.
Youngster that like comes to us like twice a year.
Okay, so like the format, like this 3D camera, like when I'm talking, it like registering you, like switch, like we're like testing it out because it was
sister that came here. She's like, oh, there's an interview, and like, come, and I'm like, what?
What is this interview for?
So it's like to help because we got because the big deal got sponsored by Outlabs. They donated it.
We had one too. Okay,
Hold on a second, let me find Joe.
We were just doing interviews in here.
Did you guys rent the room?
But it's for an event that was running for never going to get, so it's not like,
We all rented the room out, something out.
let's see you what's happening.
Probably need to go figure something out with staff.
Jason, come on, look at that. Somebody go say something. The lady went to go. Maybe the other girl went to get something.
Putas pendejadas.
Let's get everything out. We gotta get everything out now.
Where are we going?
Well, we gotta get everything out now. Just take everything.
Well, we finish up those interviews, so we can still do this like another time. But
Do you want to just try and find another room?
we have to do it somewhere else, like because we can't